Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 614. Today we'll be doing battle with the Berserker and Backpack Battles. And so we're continuing on with Berserker week here. We've been using the Sack of Surprises all week. I'm sure it's guaranteed to provide us with an interesting game here. Let's push that ranked game button, see what turns up. And so, very fast start, very speedy start, huh? With the double speed bag coming out the gates here. I think we can make this work. And so it is always interesting to me to see these starts come up. The items that can be good, the items that can be bad. The buckler, I'm like usually not a huge fan of, but it could be pretty decent here in the early game, especially if we're able to snatch up the spiked thorns thing to get the upgrade. But before we get too far in, both the healing herbs and the piggy bank on sale are great. The broom, not my favorite weapon, but it will work out just fine here. Trying to see about how much of this will actually fit in the starting bag here, as the broom plus shield does take up a monstrous amount of space. Looks like we can fit everything. Wouldn't be able to get the banana in here. And then I'm not the biggest fan of having to roll here. I'm kind of interested in just stopping. We might want to pick up the lump of coal. The big problem that we'll run into here in the early game is just having enough weapons to spend our stamina, and having the lump of coal letting us switch a short sword into a torch is fairly decent in the early game. And so I'm kind of okay with picking it up. I'm not the hugest fan of these things when they're not on sale, but kind of is what it is. You gotta spend that money on something, huh? Okay, see if we turn this one around. We got zinged down early, but our battle rage kicked in late. GG, opponent. All right, some more stuff here. Always interesting seeing an axe turn up. It's just so strong in the early game with the scaling that it has. I'm not the hugest fan of the double axe in any kind of late game build, but it is fairly strong here in the early game. And one of the things I've been kind of wanting to push more towards here in the early game is just making sure that we have the best weapon possible. I'm always in the mindset of chasing after value and trying to be the most financially efficient as we can, but I also find myself probably losing out on more hearts than I should early, and I feel like that's because I'm not really investing in the strongest weapon possible in the early game, passing up on a lot of spears, having a lot of boards to where we just have like a broom and another bad weapon or something, and trying to build out shovels so that we stay economy heavy. And I'm wanting to push more towards being more aggressive with picking up axes, picking up spears, and trying to preserve those hearts as we go into the mid game. And so I think I am going to pick up the axe here. It's an interesting set in that there's both an axe and a pan. And as far as the kind of early game stamina usage goes, I do want two weapons. We can use both a broom and an axe, but we're gonna have to like take a turn if we want to try and support all three, which I think is fine. Like, I'm not completely opposed to just selling off the shield at this point, picking up that 2 gold back. We are gonna have to pick up the bag to make all of this work. Then if we get the axe in here, let's see how that starts to look. Also, I'm not entirely certain how these speed bags will function with all of this. All of this, like, I know with this setup here, our stamina is going to look pretty good, but the speed bags do make it deal a little bit more. And so let's do this. Yeah, let's sell off the shield. We'll, it's kind of a 50-50 world, right? In the sense that if I trade away some of if I do some of the stuff here to get a high economy, then we're good, but then we're also battling with the axe. And so best of both worlds, right? A bit of economy, a bit of high-powered weaponry in the early game. Gets it all fixed. Alright, so opponent's blasting with the spears. He's got the new the new bust strategies before they're live. You got to appreciate seeing that. Looks like we're going to fall apart here. It's a bit of a struggle, giving up on the shield and knowing that you're going to be on a very stamina centric round, but I think it's okay. I think we're moving places now. And so I don't really want to go back to the shield. I definitely want to pick up the leather bag. There is a walrus tusk on sale here, but I'm kind of done with the shield. I mean, maybe we shouldn't be. It's a tough decision in that we do have two economic items at this point in the piggy bank and the shovel. We do want something defensive. I would prefer it to be like having leather armors here in the early game, but there's no guarantees that that will show up, and so maybe we do just cut back to having the shield here. It's not like we lost out on a ton of money. It's just really 2 gold at the end of the day. And I don't really want to be going after like short sword, whetstones, hero swords. I don't really like them with the Berserker. So maybe it's okay. Like I feel like every game that we do well with the Berserker, it's just because we've built some kind of Thorn Whip weapon. And this certainly helps with the Thorn Whips if they turn up early, getting that bonus stamina off of the shield. Just we run into too many dum-dums like this guy that think it's okay to run ranged weapons, right? fuck you with using the basic mechanics of the game. If we're bringing the shields, then you got to be bringing the melees. All right, let's keep going in. These piggy banks seem fine. Hopefully we can arrange this. I mean, I guess we could have done something a little bit more like this to pick up that 2 extra health points, but not the biggest worry about that. Now everything here is too expensive, or we've already lined it up. Now this is an interesting set here to me. We have both the Pestilence Flask and the Mana Orb that would push us towards a very quick a very quick Pestilence Staff if we wanted to go that route. I'm also kind of interested in Pestilence Flasks in that they upgrade the daggers well. Daggers with the flask early are good, and then having the daggers just kind of hanging out if we go towards Brass Knuckles in the mid-game is okay as well. The other kind of interesting thing, we're not going to go for it here, is that if you do find yourself going towards cheese builds, then having access to the Mana Orbs is very important. For activating your Excalibur. And so I think we're kind of far away from cheese builds here. That's not really on the table. The question is, do we want to chase after this Pestilence Flask for anything? The downside with it is just fucking expensive, right? Just $7 for 3 poison absolutely is not worth it. But getting that poison dagger in the early game is quite good. And so I'm a little torn on taking it. I think we're just kind of okay with our setup at this point, and I'm actually just going to pass on everything. You know, it's okay to sit around and talk about everything and then just not take anything. We could take the leather bag, I guess, but the Mana Orb and the Pestilence Flask feel a bit too early. If we were in a build that really wants to go for the broom every time, then that would be okay, but I don't think that's where we're at today. And so let's pick up the leather bag. I'm not the hugest fan of the healing herbs as we're using the utility pouch. It just, if you think of how the game is going to sequence out with our battle rage, if you're using the standard bag to where when you're at 50% health, then you get to hit the battle rage, then you tend to use these healing bits effectively, right? You don't really hit your armor until halfway through your health, so you're gaining health until you get to half, then you gain a bunch of armor and you keep gaining health back up. Not necessarily how it works with the utility pouch. You tend to stay at full health frequently, and then these healing herbs don't really do anything in the early game. And so the first bit of the battle, you may have a bit of armor to where they don't do anything, then you hit battle rage and heal all the way back up to full, and it doesn't give you as much opportunity for these to hit. And so if it was on sale, I would take it full price. I'm not going to pay. I'm thinking I'm actually just going to go ahead and stop here. We'll just keep this big mana bank into the next round, and go from there. No reason to not pick up the stone, though. Now we'll hit the battles. Alright, I think we're okay here. He has a bit of sustain in the banana, but our weapons are most definitely better than his. Got him. GG. Feels good to get into rounds like that to where you talk forever, don't purchase anything, and then it just ends, and you still managed to get the victory. But alright, this looks decent here. I do like picking up dragons. Getting the dragons within the pet build is something that I like to chase after, so I'm definitely interested in picking up this ruby egg. Otherwise, we've seen whetstones and swords all day today. Not going to be chasing that down, and there is a stable recombobulator. I can't remember if this tooltip is still messed up to where you recombobulate to +1 gold, which would be fairly useful, right? If we click on the patch notes, I can't remember. See, the unstable gets the generated gold +1 value, unstable recombobulator where the hand is here. And then I'm pretty certain that that just doesn't show up on the tooltip, but I think in the previous version there was an update to the stable one, but I think that that was just a matter of gold. Now, I don't think we would get enough value out of this, right? If you're wanting to just put one item in it every turn, then it's not really going to be worth. But putting the on sale items in this is where you get the real value out of it, right? You put the $1 pocket sand in, you get 2 gold back out. I'm trying to think if we want to chase after it that way, because these 6 gold is a fairly expensive upfront cost for this thing. Maybe we just try it out. I'm curious to see how it goes, but I'm also just a little bit more interested in picking up this this egg. And so maybe this is the way we'll go about it. We'll pick up the dragon egg here. We'll get these coals up and running, and then I'm just going to put the lock in on both of these on sale items. It's going to take us 2 turns to scale up with the ruby egg anyways, right? And so our chances of winning aren't that spectacular until the dragon comes back up. And so maybe we'll just be super greedy here and try and recombobulate the rest of the way. So how are we holding up now? Surprisingly well at the start against this double axe with the scaling, but we're not going to win any kind of late game here. Gonna come right down to the end. Damn, it was his. I saw the animation. It was his scaling axe that popped on the last strike. That huge 16 to 19 damage coming through. I thought we might be able to pull that off right to the end, but didn't make it. Now, see, here's what we're kind of looking towards, right? We've got the recombobulator, both the pocket sand and the unstable on sale. We're just going to try and econ these up, and so let's purchase all this stuff. We do need a bag to fit these things in. Now we have a stamina sack turn up. I think this will be okay. On sale broom is a bit of a pain point. We could purchase it, but we won't really have the space or the stamina to use it. So I don't think we'll want to pick it up. But now let's get to recombobulating. Now this is where, like, maybe I'm just upset about the particular items that we snatched up here, but we want it to be like this. I want... Okay, that should be fine. It's like I was worried that I want the unstable within the stable, but then I also don't want to have to lock the unstable because then the other recombobulator won't eat it. But this looks okay now. I think that's going to be fine. We get the pocket sand in here. Maybe we can bring this back over at this point. Just lock the ones we don't want to be losing. Okay, and so I think that we're set with the items here. I still want to hang on to the healing herbs. I want to hang on to the piggy banks at this point. Maybe we should be getting rid of the piggy banks since we're on kind of greed mode here with the recombobulator. We always have a way to kind of generate income. I think I am willing to just get rid of the piggy banks at this point as well, because we can't just focus on this nonsense for the entirety of time here. And so I think that's okay. What do we think about putting the shovel in as well? I think we can hang on to the shovel for a bit. Let's do this. Let's lock this axe. I don't plan on going for a big double axe build, but it's not crazy, right? We do have a fair amount of gems up to this point. We should have moved over the lump of coal, but we do have a fair amount of gems, even though the gem box hasn't turned up. So we might find ourselves chasing that down. Very interested to see what we pull out of the recombobulator this turn, though. We get absolutely annihilated by this guy. Still got a couple hearts left over. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. And so the holy armor turns up, that's fine, but the big thing here is actually spiking the deck of cards in the sense that it does give us a way to upgrade this ruby whelp if the the Charizard turns up, or if the Blue Eyes White Dragon turns up. And so, very curious to see what we can do out of that. I definitely want to get this upgraded, and where that's going to take us is, the weapon we want to be taking into this game. If we're going to be going after pets, I tend to want chain whips. But if we tend to be going after the Shaman Mask or whatever, then we would want to be going for the double axe. And I'm a little interested in, I think, just going after the double axe here, but that's it's a little tough to. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. Hang on. There we go. It's going to be a bit annoying trying to get all this to work. Just having that, I guess we can make the double axe work with the big weapon, in the sense that you can just put the tip in, right? You can just put the tip of the axe within the pet band, right? If you look at the way the wolf emblem lines up, you can get the tip in that little band, so your weapon's still hitting the crit and not taking up a ton of space. And so I think that might be worth going after here. Also interested in this leather armor, as our weaponry is just kind of set at this point. Let's do this. Yeah, let's give up on a round of the Recombobulator. I'm sure that we'll come back to that at some point. Still looking okay as far as these weapons go. Now let's see. We can definitely fit the holy armor in. Ideally, we'll come in and find some more bags to make this stuff work. Yeah, let's keep our axes in the most speed bags that we can. Now we can do something like this. Get the holy armor in, get the dragon scale in, and then there's a protective purse. Okay, seems like we're getting some direction here. I like that. There is the scaling in the oil lamp out here. I think I want to pass on that at the moment. If we're going to be going for pets, that's just going to be a little bit expensive at the moment. We'll hopefully be able to pick up one later. Then there is a box of riches as well. I don't intend on going for a shaman mask, and so I'll skip past that. See how this goes, though. We got our big defense up here. We got some really strong weapons. Watching this hammer build trying to chunk through 100 armor. Say, good luck, fam. Good luck. Rip. Okay, so yeah, let's get that subclass in here. Ooh, the pack leader's even on sale. Good stuff. Gotta like that. And so interesting things here. Lots of strong stuff. And so we did just pick up the pet thing. We have access to a cheese goobert here, which is pretty good with the pets. We also have a shield of valor, which we will want, right, as we line up the massive amount of armor from the dragon scale and the holy. We'll want to pick that up, but I think I'm just a little bit more interested in picking up the goobert and the cheese this turn. Now, I think we should probably realistically just get rid of the Recombobulator at this point as well. I'm eyeballing some of this stuff, and it's like kind of interesting loading it into the Hungry Blade, but I think it's just going to be a pain point from this point forward, and so I'm just going to sell that off as well. Just give us the space while we need it. I think we're okay to pick up a Shield of Valor a little bit later. These things turn up with a good amount of frequency in the late game, and I just don't think we need it at this point. Now some interesting stuff with the Corrupted Crystal turning up. I don't usually go after Corrupted Armors. It's not horrible, but it's not great. I tend to want the Cap of Discomfort, and then I look to make Moon Armors out of the Corrupted Armor if that ever brings itself together. And so I kind of want to lock the Corrupted Crystal just for next round and not immediately pick it up. But the other thing, can't remember, do we have to have the deck of cards within our sack to get the cards turn up? Because I would also like to just find a Charizard and get rid of this deck. Not entirely certain how that works. All right, let's get our bags sorted out a bit, though. Okay, so we are going to want something a little like this. Let me see. Get the... Takes a minute for me to get this lined up. And so let's see. We want something a bit like this, to where we have all of the hexes available on the Wolf Companion, and then we can still get the big axe within. And the big axe is also running through the important one, the crit piece in here. I think that'll be okay. That looks good. Then I like to put the dragons out like this way, so we can get it on the very end, the very corner hex of what's happening out here, so we can still fit more pets inside of there. That tends to push over this way now. Right, so we still have one more star for a pet here to the left, and then we can start and get these things moving out to the right. We'll want to get the Goobert in here. We want the Goobert to upgrade, and then we can... We get the bag space lined up okay. We can fit the holy armor out here to the edge of the Goobert. Not where we'll want it forever, I don't think, but it should be decent here in the early game. Shit, that's not going to work, is it? It's tough finding the space for these big axes. That's probably about as decent as it'll get, but we can't quite fit everything in here. Getting a dragon and a speed bag's not terrible. God, this bag space is atrocious at this point. We will get to clean it up a little bit, but we need to find a little bit more. So let's do this. Let's lock that crystal. See if we can't roll and find. See if we can't find a bag. Doesn't turn up. Let's keep going. So here's a bag for 3. Let's just sell off the shield at this point. Okay, so this is a decent start. Don't want to roll anymore. Kind of questioning if we want to just give up on this corrupted crystal. It feels like bad now, but as the game progresses, we're really gonna want it, and so let's just move forward. Now I'm curious to see how things hold up with this big double axe. It's not what I typically use with these builds, but I think it'll be okay. This is also... Oh yeah, that worked out nicely. Alright, got our cheese Goobert. Don't want the lovers. Not opposed to picking up lumps of coal. This big boost early is not terrible. I like to put the burning coals typically within the armors. Getting that guaranteed bonus in the early combat is kind of nice. So something like this. Go ahead and pick up this expensive corrupted crystal. Ace, not quite what we want. Okay, and then I think that's getting close to fine. We're not making spectacular usage out of this Goobert, but I don't want to pass up on the crit from the double axe. Maybe we just look to move the ruby whelp over. I don't want to like completely ignore that we have access to this Goobert. Okay, it's not terrible. So it's getting pretty decent usage across the board. Passing on another oil lamp scares me a little bit, but I like where this is going. I think this is heading in a decent direction. See those big crits come through. That's what you like to see. show me those big numbers, game. That's what it's all about. So all right, so here's the first one, right? We can go for the blue eyes white dragon. It makes the frost dragon. I typically want to be generating the not the obsidian. Where are you at? The Reaper. There we go. I typically want to be generating the ruby chunk. This is the preferred dragon. Getting these stuns is spectacular. We have some incidental flame gain, right? Typically have an oil lamp for a couple points. The cheese goobert can generate a little bit. The chonk will generate some on its own. We do have those blazing coals or whatever they're called that can potentially generate some heat, so it's not completely off the table that this thing gets generated. Otherwise, the blue eyes white dragon's the one that we have access to, though. Unfortunately, don't have it on the ready. Where you at, friend? And so yeah, this one, I'm not as big of a fan of it. The on hit inflicting frosts just doesn't really do anything. It's not terrible, but we're gonna struggle to hit 12 frosts, and it's not really where I want to be. Now, the thing that I'm kind of curious about is a lot of times we will end up with 2 dragons within these pet builds, and if we end up with 2 dragons, then I do kind of want to just go ahead and pick up this ice dragon now. Just gives us more time to just kind of like find things without fucking around, and so I think in that sense it's kind of okay. I'll just add it in and not be the most happy about it. Now, otherwise, I don't want a second corrupted crystal at this point. We're getting too greedy with a lot of this stuff that we're doing. Box of Riches I'm kind of interested in to help improve our double X. And so that's maybe what I think we do here is just go ahead and sell off the deck of cards, be happy with our 1 dragon, and then add in the Box of Riches. It's going to take quite a bit of time to get a secondary dragon up and running in this build. So let's do this. Box of Riches in. Still got $5 left over. We can take a roll. Got a gem in there. These flawed sapphires are spectacular in the double axe, letting it just chunk the opponent's health directly. And now there is an on sale greatsword. Very interested. It's just going to take us 1 round to get it up and running. Our build isn't like super optimized for it, but it is kind of okay here. Okay, let's snatch that up as well. So it should be good here for 1 round. And then we'll have to rearrange next round. Okay, not terrible. Let the blueberries go. Interesting. If you asked me where this where this game was gonna start, if this is where we were gonna finish, it would be nowhere near this. This is kind of a wild ride we've been on here, but I think we're off to something good. All right, got that big ass crit coming through at the end. That's what the people are here to see, you know. you say, bust, give me that big ass crit, and I gotta do what the people want. And so good stuff here. Let's pick up the fanny pack, the moon armor. Trying to think if we'll come across anything to where we can really make usage out of this mana. We typically like pass on a lot of what's it called? The thing that not Gen Lamp. Gen Lamp is something I kind of like having access to. We have a lot of armor here. We have the cheese goobert to generate the rando keywords. I think it might be worth picking up at this point. So we'll add that in. I would have much preferred it been on sale, but you can't get that every time. So we'll pick up the gems as they turn up. Don't really want the leather boots or the heart container. 1 more roll. Another speed bag. Okay. And so let's see. How do we get this busted blade up and running? We get one more hex of speed bagging. Okay, so that looks good. Got him maximized out here. Then we want to get our dragon up at the top. I think we want to keep the attack speed going on the ice dragon. Like, we do have the opportunity to put it over here, like where it gets crit and it's also in the utility pouch, like this. Like, we're definitely gonna have it getting crit either way, but, well, I guess we weren't getting crit off of the cheese goober. That was probably a bit of a mistake, so let's leave it here. Getting some more activations on the cheese goober should probably be our next goal, but I like where this is going. This is all looking very reasonable here. Blue dragons and cheese goobers and busted blades, that's exactly where we expected this one to be. All right. Nice big 180 crit on the busted blade right at the end. Gotta like that stuff. Gotta dig it. So are these godly? They are. We can come in and use the Mani Niku here. A little expensive, but I don't hate it. Maybe we look to pick these up later. I'd like to come in and get some more bag space and some more pets at this point, so we'll skip past that. We do have the singular oil lamp that we're going to want, just to ensure we have some scaling. I think the battles will last long enough to where this will come in, right? As you add in stuff like the busted blade, the need for scaling kind of diminishes, given that the battles tend to end pretty quickly. But I mean, I think we're just so set up at this point, at least in terms of armor, that taking something like this feels kind of okay. It's also nice in the sense that we can put it, say, here, to where it's just activating the cheese goobert and landing on the dragon. So let's at least maximize this goobert while we can. We picked up a amethyst. Always want to be putting the amethysts in the armor to get that healing shred. All right, fam. What a game. That dragon's coming in and zinging. I'm getting that 5 frostbite on the opponent. Look out. Look out. And so what do we got here? I do like Wulpentingers. Again, it ties into some of our themes to where it generates a bit of mana and it generates some empowered and stuff. It takes up a lot of space at this point, though, and it's very expensive. So I think I'm going to skip past that. We definitely do need to be finding more bags. Found one here. That's going to be useful. Don't quite want the bananas. The box of riches could look to pick up a second one. We do have a ton of slots out here available, and I do want to be upgrading this busted blade, so maybe we go for it. It's also nice with the box of riches in that they upgrade into the king crown. I don't think we'll go for the king goobert here. I mean, maybe we should. Well, we just rolled past that other goobert, but I always go for the king crowns. And having that second box of riches to keep generating gemstones is kind of nice. And so picking up the second one there should be okay. Passing on that goobert. Are we gonna come to regret that? Is that gonna be our downfall for the day? Passing on the gooberts. Here's a second one if we want to try and snatch it up. I don't typically go for this many goobs, but I'm kind of interested. If we're so close to the king crown at this point, and we have the mana generation and the moon armor and the cheese, maybe that's it. Let's just lock in both of these gooberts and make a go of it. So we've got that. Got some upgrades coming into the busted blade. All right, what a game. What a game. So what do we got here? Up against a buff steel. Don't have to worry about it too much here. It's the antithesis of what you typically get out of a cheese build, but we're not actually a cheese build here. We're a pet build that has a cheese goobert in it, and so maybe we'll have a chance. Need a big busted blade strike at the end. Got the strike, but not quite enough. He got a ton of buffs up and running there. All right, I think things are still going okay. Definitely want the amethyst. Definitely want the dog. See how much of this stuff we still have space for. $9, we can afford everything at this point. Okay, I think that's a decent enough spot for the goobert. I don't have huge expectations out of what it's going to be doing with this smaller one. We just kind of need to hold on to it until until a better one turns up. Some more items in the old dragon here. Okay, so yeah, we just need more pets, more bag space, and a crown. Like that's everything that this build would need. Um, might want to try and find a shield at some point, since we do gain a ton of armor off of the big armors we have. But off to the races. Oh, here we go. That King Goobert's gonna be he's gonna be turning up. Get our crown in here. Beautiful, beautiful. There's another upgrade coming in with the sapphires. That looks good. Let's pick up this regular emerald as well. The stone has kind of run its course. We'll put it in the dragon. On board. What do we got here? Big old frosty build. Frost guy doesn't even have a frost dragon. That has to be frustrating, right? I guess he's more he's more into kind of like a mage build with the thing that his stuff is doing, but having that big frost build and then not having having to go up against a rando frost dragon is kind of funny. All right, definitely want to get this King Goobert up. Flawed Sapphire is going to be fine. We got another pet, that's good. Need more bag space. Of course it turns up, of course. We deserve it, huh? Let's see. Can we easily get this Goobert upgrading? Right, we can shift this dragon up without any real concerns. He's still hitting all the stars that we need. It's like we have a ton of bag space, just a matter of making this fit right. So does that do what we want? We can get the Goobert back in here, get the King Crown going. Okay, that's all reasonable. Didn't I was waiting to just fuck that up, and it it all turned out okay at the end of the day. So I think that's fine. Could probably do a little better like this, so the dog is touching more pets. I think that's okay. All right, we're going places. Don't have any more upgrades for these smaller gems. Okay. We gotta survive till the king comes on board. Man, I've been watching The Wire again since the babies come along. I've done so much, like just going back and watching the classics of television. I watched through Breaking Bad again, and then now I've been watching through The Wire again. And whenever you hear the king, if you're not familiar with the if you come at the king, you best not miss line. It's from old Omar in The Wire, and it's been fantastic. Like I feel like I tried to watch The Wire. I've seen it through like once, maybe twice, and I tried to watch it again somewhat recently, and I got kind of thrown off by everybody running around with pagers. Right? I'm willing to bet that there's well, my viewership skews old, and so you old folks are probably knowing what a pager is, but you youngsters, you young bloods out there probably not familiar with what a pager is. It was a cigarette box style rectangle. You probably don't remember what cigarettes are either. It is an electronic device the size of a vape, and if you wanted to get into contact with somebody, you would call their vape machine and then send them a sequence of numbers. Typically, what was your home phone number, and then they would just call you back on their landline later. Or as it happens in The Wire, you go to a payphone, and it's just so much nostalgic shit that creeps up out of it. But it hasn't ruined the plot, and so I've been incredibly happy with how well the Wire's held up. Since you youngsters probably aren't that familiar with it. It's one of the fantastic television shows of all time. Nonetheless, getting distracted here, there's actually some very interesting stuff here. If you watched what happened with the opponent, they just died with 72 armor. This is why I do really like making sure we have at least some kind of sapphire in the busted blade. If you take a quick peek at the log, you can see to where opponent just got ripped from 67. They had, 67, but they also had 72 armor. This 94 attack should not have typically killed through that, but we managed to get the Sapphire hit off of the Busted Blade and just ignore all of that armor. Very powerful having that come in. I'm curious if we shouldn't also just put one of these Sapphires into the Ice Dragon so it gets to do that stuff as well. I hadn't quite thought of it. I'd only really thought of the bonuses we got out of the Busted Blade itself, because that's what I'm typically up and running with. Now here, more good stuff. The Shield of Valor finally turns up. We kind of have enough space for it. It's another great activator off of the Cheese Goobert. We could probably rearrange the Cheese Goobert and get everything that we want to have happen here. Right, I'm kind of looking, ignore this fanny pack up here, but I'm kind of wanting it to be like this, so that we get the shield activations onto the Cheese Goobert, and it hits both of our armors. The dogs do get the bonuses off of the Shield of Valor. It is quite nice to get that value, but I think we're going to be a little bit short on that today. We can maybe throw a dog up here at the top, but I don't think it's going to work itself out that way. Also curious if it's just like too greedy to care this much, and we don't look to just maximize, like the Cheese Goobert. It is giving some good effectiveness, but it's not what we really need to care about. I think we need to care a little bit more about the King Goobert. And so where I'm kind of going with this is, if we're able to, I'm not certain that this stuff is going to fit. But if we do something like this, to where we rotate the armor sideways, then we do have the space to put the Shield of Valor in like this. I mean, maybe that's how we go about it. And then we just have the King Goobert out to the edge. We can still fit the Cheese Goobert at the bottom. He's got 3 items activating this way. It's like we really want to make sure that the King gets enough activations to turn on the invulnerable. Like, that's the big thing that we're going to be getting out of the King Goobert here, is those invulnerable hits. And I worry a little bit that we're just being too greedy trying to maximize the shield. I think the Battle Rage armor is where that kind of falls apart. And so maybe we look to do this, so we at least still get the guaranteed activations on the Moon armor, along with the on-hit activations from the Shield of Valor. I think that's probably where we want to be. Now, if we come and look more towards the bottom, let's do this real quick. Get the... Oh, I thought the Ice Dragon was going to land in the speed bag if we did that. Definitely want our Ice Dragon in the crit range. Okay, well, I think I'm okay with this so far. It hasn't landed perfect, but it's looking good. So then we're just kind of stuck with this awkward dragon scale. I think this is fine. We'll figure out a way to get that in a little bit. We just need this like 1 hex, right? We've got the 1 hex down here at the bottom, 1 off the stamina sack, and 5 or 6 up at the top. I think we'll just come back to it. The core of our build is here. That's the important thing. Alright, so rearrange a little bit to something like this. I did come back and put the 1 Sapphire in on the Ice Dragon. I think that's okay. We're keeping the other Sapphires in the Busted Blade. I think everything looks good there. We've got the armor shred within the King Goobert, so we get the big reduction on the opponent. Still fit these healing herbs in. Okay. I like it. If you have the time to get that dragon scale armor in, I'm sure that there's a way to do it, but I'm just going to be a little bit of a lazy bones here and skip past that. All right, we'll see how we can handle against the old buff stealing ranger here. You don't have as many buffs for him to steal as normal. I don't think we're gonna match his scaling. He's up there to 50 thorns almost. Just couldn't quite get up enough health to crack in there at the end. We'll blame it on not putting the dragon scale armor in. Just being ultimately too lazy. But all right, as we come into our final round here, I definitely want to be picking up the Manny Niku this round, hitting both the Ice Dragon and the Chipped Sapphire. We can pull that off. There's a bag in here as well to fix up our Dragon Scale armor woes. Now we just got to see how we get the one hex thing down here at the bottom. This is just going to be the bane of me today. I don't. It's like I'm certain that there's a way. But this is always my huge pain point with backpack battles. I don't want to sit here and figure out the ways to get this this one item in here and up and running. It's like we have so many hexes, it seems like it should be fitting. So lame. What's the pain point here? That's probably where it's got to be. It's like, I know we have this like one hex protective purse, and then we can probably just rearrange everything to make it fit. I just don't really want to come in and rearrange everything. Oh, this is just gonna get so fucked, isn't it? All right, whatever. I mean, we've gone this far with it, huh? Oh, Jesus fuck. Okay. Well, I at least know what I want the bags to mostly look like, and so that should get us back up and running a bit faster. Something like this to this point. Manny Niku goes down here. The Ice Dragon goes above the Manny Niku. We should probably use this as a moment to get the protective purses underneath that. Alright, kind of build out this way. This will better work at the end of the day, or I'm going to be so upset. I know this is why people come here. You want to watch me come in and just rearrange this final bag one last time. But it's such an annoyance to have to go through this. And we get to the wolf emblem down here at the bottom. We want the King Goobert next to it. Flame thing goes over there. That's nice. Like the pain point's going to be up here. Let's see. We got the dogs down at the bottom. The moon armor. You saw this coming, right? You knew this was gonna hit to where the bags just didn't quite work out at the end. Is that it? No. God damn it. It's like you know it's here. The ability to do it is completely available. Is this the answer? I think it gets us closer, huh? All right, something like this. We're getting there, huh? Is this the favorite part of your day? You've probably already figured it out yourself. You said, "Boss, this is easy fix." You should have gotten this hours ago. But that's about where we want to be, right? I think this is looking decent. Now, going into the last round, there's no reason to have a box of riches, so I am going to come in and sell it. See if any other gemstones turn up. Nothing there. Anything for $1. Shiny shell turns up. Now, we do have a bit of a pain point in this Manny Niku being short of the activation. And so, very surprising to me to see it be like that. But we can rotate the bottom pet. It's going to fall outside of the crit range, but getting that attack speed is probably a little bit more important. All right, that's it. It's going to be our final build. Let's push that start battle button. see how this Ice Dragon Busted Blade pet build finishes off the day. Against another Busted Blade, if we can hit our Invulnerables, we should be okay. It's all gonna come down to our Invulnerables soaking in those big Busted Blade hits. I gotta imagine we've hit a couple of them there. Oh, fuck. Didn't hit at the right moments. Well, that round kind of is what it is. I feel like our build running into this guy should be strong, right? There's the Busted Blade attacks so slow that if your shields are up, you just stop so much damage. And being in this space to where like our Busted Blade hits on a 2.5 second cooldown to where his hits at a 3.79, so we're getting attacks in like one faster every single time, and then we should get 3 activations out of the King Goobert, just line up and hopefully block those big hits. I'm not certain what I think about this round. He did like scale up higher than us, right? He got up to 500 health at the end of the day off of the cheese and the heart container, but feels like we should have been a little bit stronger here. I guess the major pain point where it might have broken down a little bit is he had the spiked collar for the longer battle rage, which gives you the better attacks on the Busted Blade, but just feels like we should have. I don't know. It's one of those things where if like you're playing Hearthstone Battlegrounds and you have the overlays that tell you your percentage chance to win. Like I'm very curious what our percentage chance to win is this round, because I feel like we should just end up being much stronger than the opponent more frequently with our King Goobert. But at the end of the day, fun game, interesting build. Didn't quite land exactly where I started it was going to. It's very interesting how we got from point A to point B to point C here with that recombobulator in the middle taking us down kind of an odd and awkward path. But very interesting and fun battle. It's what I like to see out of these games like Backpack Battles, as to where there is the path of just going down the on-meta builds frequently. But I feel like a lot of maximizing your LP is going to come out of games like this, as to where we kind of had a bit of vision as to where we wanted to go, right? Kind of picking up the good weapons and starting with a double axe, getting that dragon in the mid game to potentially push us down a pets build, and then at the end just being like, oh man, we've got this recombobulator, let's do a bit of work with it. It's given us this card to generate a dragon, it's given us a moon armor to do some other things with, and I think it was very neat how this game played itself out. Those of you that enjoy drafting games is where you really get a lot of value out of how a round like this went. So nonetheless, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching it. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.